We've now left the Tarkine on our west coast journey and we're heading south to Zine. Zine is a historic mining town on Tassie's west coast. A rich deposit of silver-lead ore was found in 1882, and it was once known as the Silver City with a population of around 10,000. Its current population is just over 700. Our next port of call is the HEARTY sand dunes. We stopped to explore the banks of the HEARTY River on our way. The HEARTY sand dunes are around 30 metres tall and extend for around 15 kilometres along the coast. They have been blown several kilometres inland by the roaring forties. Strahan is a picturesque town on the shores of Macquarie Harbour. We stayed at the Strahan Golf Club, which offers an unpowered campground for a maximum of 7 days. It's accessible to self-contained vehicles and it has water and toilets available. Strahan was founded in 1877. It initially served the timber trade and booming mining industry at Mount Lyell and Zine. It became Tasmania's second busiest port, with a rich history of convicts on nearby Sarah Island, hue and pine milling and fishing. Today it is a key tourist gateway to the World Heritage Wilderness. Today we're taking a Gordon River cruise.
Before we get up to speed, I may head on off here and check them out. Well folks, we are running a bit late, but that is perfectly fine with me. I don't mind. Magical viewing of the dolphins here.
Bailey, I believe they might be the salmon ponds over there.
Yeah, I This is what's known as the training wall. It's around 3 kilometres long and was built in 1897. It's a 19th century engineering feat to stabilise the dangerous shifting entrance known as Hell's Gate. It's constructed from locally quarried stone. It channels tidal currents to scour the channel, maintaining a navigable depth for shipping and preventing the harbour from becoming too shallow. Convicts transported to Sarah Island named the passage Hell's Gates because they felt they were entering hell due to the extreme isolation, brutal conditions and dangerous narrow rocky channel. The channel is notoriously difficult to navigate, with dangerous currents, shallow spots and heavy breaking seas in westerly winds.
Good little spot, man.
Can you imagine entering this channel in a sailing ship with no motor? It's quite a strong tide flowing at the moment and it's pushing this boat around. Salmon farming in Macquarie Harbour is a major 38-year-old industry, producing around 9,500 tonnes of fish annually. While supporting regional jobs, the industry faces scrutiny over environmental impacts.
And it's important heritage. They believe that time was running out and the wilderness could be lost forever.
We've now entered the Gordon River, and passengers were invited to join the captain. We had a very friendly, interesting chat with him. We're heading up the river to Heritage Landing. The Spirit of the Wild uses her electric motors during the voyage up the Gordon River. This allows the guests to truly understand how tranquil the Gordon River is. You can even hear the bird songs through the rainforest.
Wheelhouse doesn't go right across the beam of the boat.
Yeah.
I get nailed on now out here. Usually waits till I coming up to Heritage Landing or Sarah Island. Heavens open up. Got a pair of goggles I have to put on sometimes. The wind is so strong. You can't see.
This is Heritage Landing. There's an easy rainforest walk along the boardwalk. Lunchtime aboard the Spirit of the Wild. We're on our way to Sarah Island, which is situated near the mouth of the Gordon River. It covers about 8 hectares. It was established as a maximum security penal station to house repeat offenders and the most unruly convicts from Van Diemen's Land. It was known as Hell on Earth for the high rates of floggings, extremely harsh conditions, and difficult isolated terrain. Despite its reputation, it was a major shipbuilding centre, with over 100 vessels constructed between 1822 and 1833, primarily using hewn pine. The settlement was abandoned in 1833, with many prisoners transferred to Port Arthur. Our tour guide was a wonderful storyteller. The 1834 hijacking of the brig Frederick by 10 Tasmanian convicts is a remarkable story of desperation, ingenuity and legal irony. Convicts assigned to build the vessel at the harsh Sarah Island penal colony seized it just before the station closed, sailing 6,000 nautical miles to Chile to live as free men. Just 2 years later, in 1836, the governor of Valdivia was replaced. His successor was more suspicious of the British convicts and alerted the passing frigate HMS Blonde. 4 escapees, James Porter, William Shires, Charles Lyon and William Cheshire, were then arrested and shipped back to England and then subsequently Hobart. The escapees arrived back in Hobart in March 1837 and were put on trial for piracy, which was a hanging offence. This caused a considerable public spectacle in the settlement, and the court was packed for the trial. James Porter and William Shires argued that as the Frederick had not yet been officially launched, it was impossible for them to have committed piracy. It was canvas, rope, boarding and tree nails put together shipwise. Yet it was not a legal ship. The seizure might have been theft, but not piracy. The situation was further complicated by the Frederick having been taken in a harbour rather than on the high seas, a requisite for piracy. Ultimately, Porter and the others were found guilty of piracy, but not sentenced to death. The convicts were imprisoned for 2 years in a Hobart jail and then transported to the notorious Norfolk Island penal colony, where Porter wrote his memoirs. Porter's sentence on Norfolk Island was reduced after he rescued several officers when their boat capsized. He was later released from the harsh conditions of Norfolk Island and sent to Newcastle. In 1847 he again escaped and was never heard from again. Believe it or not, we were joined by one of the crew members who was on his day off. He was out for a bit of fun and he's obviously done this before.
They're located 15 minutes out of Strahan towards the east. Quite an impressive landscape and particularly fun if you're travelling with a leeward.
This is the Regatta Point station for the West Coast Wilderness Railway. If you're a railway buff, you need to check out their website. They advise to make sure you book in advance. There was nothing happening on the day we were here. So we had a look around. It looks like they're ready for a bit of track maintenance. Join us next time as we continue our trip around Tassie.